this is also intelligent design that Dr. Ghosh puts me before Professor Professor Sharma, and he always puts difficult questions to us. Basically, I am just trying to share with you only three aspects that when we put in the jargon of scientific the domain, we have difficulty in accepting that there is some God. So we have created some sort of a dichotomy where accepting God becomes difficult for a scientist. And this intelligent design precisely comes as a rescue. And the scientists, or the great scientists of the Western world today, they are feeling that a God really exists. The concept of God is there, but it is difficult for the scientists to accept God as such. So these kind of concepts as intelligent design or fine tuning, this is basically trying to approach from a scientific background, scientific explanations to God. So this is my dedication to my spiritual master, His Holiness Bhakti Swarup Damodar Swami Maharaj. This is what I started with. The mysteries of life and cosmos has been there with all of us, including the scientific community, and in the process this evolution theory, intelligent design and fine tuning has come. This is what the Darwinian concept of biological evolution is, that the humans came from last universal common ancestor, and so there is an evolution of a species from one form to another. Yes. The system of sun, planet and comets, the beautiful system of cosmos, when we look at that, we feel there must be some designer. However, it becomes, and I was hearing the wonderful lecture by Professor Vikram Singhe. He was trying to summarize the life, the cosmos and many things put together. So these things always attract the attention of brilliant mind of the world. This geometrical artistry in a spherical structure of C16, the beautiful DNA molecule, the issue started with this, the origin of a species by means of natural selection by Charles Darwin. So the scientific community thought, or they started believing that there is no creator sort of thing. The conception of creation is not good. This is not right. Rather, it is the evolution process which takes place, and we humans have also come in the form of as we are from some species which evolved. So Darwinism is a theory of biological evolution developed by Charles Darwin and others, stating that all species of organisms arise and develop through a natural selection of small inherited variants that increase the individual's ability to compete, survive and reproduce. Two important terms used by Charles Darwin was natural selection and descent with modification. So the original write-up says they use he is using two titles on the origins of a species by means of natural selection or the preservation of favored race in the struggle of life. Evolution is technically defined as a gradual process in which something changes into a different and usually more complex or better form. That is the way Darwinists define this evolution. And this is how we are trying to explain the biological evolution of human being. I'll try to skip these processes of natural selection and mutation, which has been used to explain how intelligent being or human beings came in this form. And then the issue of common descent comes, and we see that in this Darwinian concept of evolution, modern humans are so much old, coming from some microbial life some 3500 years, million years before that. So then came the concept of neo-Darwinism, which took along with the natural selection process the theory of genetics and other properties to explain biological inheritance, and these stalwarts works, Genetics and Origin of a Species of 1937, Julian Huxley's work in 42, and these authors were subscribers to these ideas of neo-Darwinism. Differences I have noted down. According to neo-Darwinism, during evolution, it is the gene pool of the population that evolves and not the individuals. Difference among individuals results from accumulation of mutation in population and recombination of genes, and Darwinism emphasized on a struggle for existence, whereas neo-Darwinism have also recognized the importance of chance factor in the evolution. So, however, coming along the line, difference of opinions have come, and there has, pioneer works which says that Darwinism has its own set of limitations, and there are, at least I was saying this point, he enlists some 10 differences of 10 evidence against the theory of Darwinism. In this background, the way I told, with these things in the background, the theory of intelligent design came, and this started in 90s, proposed by this William Dembski, Phillips, Michael Behe, and Michael Denton and others. Basically speaking, the theory of intelligent design holds that certain features of the universe and the living things are best explained by intelligent cause. That means everything is not evolving, everything is not coming out from something, a smaller one. So, rather than an undirected process such as natural selection, thus ID is thus a scientific disagreement with the core claim of evolutionary theory in the form of random mutation and natural selection. Arguing from thoroughly logic and science, this intelligent design theory puts a different perspective of life and its evolution. So, they have taken the theological basis of intelligent design from Paley. There is a story, it says, if you went for a walk in the woods and you found a watch, you would know that it was designed instead of just occurring naturally, because you know that a watch has the purpose of telling time. Therefore, a watch has a designer, and since life has a purpose, therefore life has a designer too. So this designer's theory, proponents take the basic foundation from the theological statement in Paley's statement. Some science behind intelligent design theory is, they say that whatever Darwin claims or Darwinist proponents claim, the odds against DNA assembling by chance are 10 to the power 40,000. The kind of complexity we have in formation of cell and coming to life, this is the probability of a universe with our particular set of physical properties is 1 part in 10 to the power something like that. So these are the kind of mathematical, improbability that the kind of human being we are seeing and the universe we are seeing can come by chance or selection. So positive evidence of design is that in living system, the semantic, meaningful or functional nature of biological information, the sequence of symbols that carry the message which cannot be explained through known laws. Both origin and diversity of life challenge the adequacy of natural or material cause. So this intelligent design theory comes with a concept of irreducible complexity. They say the a single system composed of several well-matched interacting parts that contribute to the basic function, wherein the removal of any one part causes the system to effectively cease the functioning. So, this irreducible units cannot be developed or cannot be evolutionary. Rather, it is being designed for fitting into the system and fitting with a purpose of that system. Professor Michael Behe, who is one of the supporters of this idea, we realize that it has been designed because we realize the improbability of all these parts coming together without intelligent direction. Darwinists would say that natural selection can build on improvements, but irreducible complexity is a counter to that idea, and irreducible complexity shows why Darwinian explanation won't work with many of the structures we find in the cell. So, this is one step ahead against, this Darwinist theory of evolution. This intelligent design principle goes one step closer, although without naming or using the word like God or supreme being or creator. They use only science and science, and but they say there is something which is fundamental, and that is irreducibly complex. It is well designed unit of existence, it does not evolve. After that, intelligent design proponents also assert that outside biology, the universal constants are fine tuned that makes the matter and life possible. So it is not only the intelligent design, rather these things in the universe are very finely tuned to life for life to exist. So it cannot be solely attributable to chance. Fine-tuned, so we have a fine-tuned universe. It is not that it has evolved by chance or by some arrangement on its own. The conditions that allow life in the universe can only occur with the tightly restricted values of the universal physical constant, that small changes in these constants would correspond to a very different universe, not likely conducive to the establishment and development of matter, astronomical structure or life as it is presently known. So this is that means the kind of universe we have, it is not coming as a random phenomena, it is not coming in its own way of evolution, rather it is a very fine-tuned condition for which and in which the life can exist. So this is very fine-tuned universe we are living in, and can we say it is divine fine-tuning? Because the scientists have enlisted some 77 constants which are very tightly fixed, and if we change the and variable even a little bit, the universe or the things seems to be differing a lot. How much time, sir, I have? Can I have 2 minutes more? Oh, so nice. So one of the proponents of this fine-tuning world, Professor Charles Townes, says our universe and we are spatial. As we examine the working of our physical universe, we find that electrical forces, nuclear forces and gravitational forces must have a spatial relation in order for our universe to come out anything like the way it has. That means, quite contrary to the Darwinian theory of evolution, it is not only intelligently designed, rather with those intelligent design, there is a fine-tuned world which has made the conditions conducive for our existence. On examining the physical universe, we will find that in many ways a very narrow and spatial combination has made possible the existence of this universe, the earth and various life forms. So synopsis wise, Darwin's theory of evolution based on natural selection and descent with modification have undergone significant changes since its introduction in 1859. Modern synthetic theory of evolution or neo-Darwinism is the merger of Darwinian natural selection and genetic theory. Although evolutionists state that life resulted from non-life and matter resulted from nothing and humans resulted from animals, each of these is an impossibility of science in the natural world. Random mutation and natural selection appears insufficient mechanism to explain macroevolution of a species of higher forms. The theory of intelligent design holds that certain features of the universe and the living things are best explained by an intelligent cause rather than an undirected process such as natural selection. The system does not develop continually, rather there are intelligently designed irreducible complex units. The concept of fine tuning suggests that our universe and we are special. The universal constants are fine-tuned that make matter and life possible. A very narrow and spatial combination has made possible the existence of this universe, the earth and various life forms. However, when we come beyond this science and matter, then there is existence of a spirit, or what we say in the human form of life. There is some issues called consciousness. We can admittedly find nothing in physics or chemistry that has even a remote bearing on the consciousness. Yet all of us know that there is such a thing called consciousness. So this is the famous statement by Niels Bohr. So once we are trying to understand the reality which is, upfront with us, we study science, but the realities are before us. So in the developed or the inclusion of this consciousness, we say by careful study of science one can appreciate that consciousness is beyond matter, which is the conclusion of spiritual traditions. The symptoms of life is consciousness. In the lower species of life, consciousness is not well developed, but there is a process by which consciousness evolves. So, contrary to the conception of Darwin's evolution theory of a species, what Vedantic view holds that there is evolution or devolution of consciousness rather than the body. So, Neo-Darwinism and consciousness is there, and then the Vedantic view holds that that we have some big vision than the concept of Big Bang theory as holding today in the Western world. So we need some sort of a new science which can realistically and more appropriately define what is existing before our eyes, and Professor Penrose says there is a need of a new science to explain consciousness. So the science has to come up which can include the feelings like free will, love, compassion also in the domain of science, if we are really scientific and we try to explain the reality. Conclusion: evolution theories have been put forward to explain many of the observed facts of the world, yet they remain confined to physical assemblies of matter and development of forms. Yet life and other facts related with life such as love, happiness, etc. remains untouched. The theories of intelligent design and fine-tuning in universe as well as biological system appear to accept the reality as they are. They are based on anthropogenic principles. Intelligent design is limited in two aspects. It can neither identify all things that are designed, nor it can tell us certainly that particular thing is not well designed. So these are the two limitations of intelligent design theory, although they go a little closer than the Darwinist theory. Science of life, including the existence and development of consciousness, still appears beyond the realm of modern science. Vedantic view of life suggests a big vision behind the existence of life and universe. Thank you very much. I think you people have exhausted all your questions before my coming over here. So Swamiji has answered many of the questions. If you have some small question, I can respond.
Well, the topic is very interesting. Intelligent design, fine-tuned. This is how we all look like. This is how the entire creation looks like. But the question is, time is limited, so I will restrict it to one, maximum two questions. Anybody from the audience?
Good morning, sir. you mentioned the fine tuning here. Don't you think it's quite illogical to say that it took 13.74 billion years to get it fine tuned to this condition? It just happened like that, and 13.74, talking 1000 or 2000 years. And do we have to be the supreme creation, unlike what Dr. Vikramasinghe told yesterday, to have resulted in this fine tuning?
Sir, we took so many millions or billions of years to be fine-tuned.
No, we were already fine-tuned. It took us these many years to understand that.
I suggest that don't worry too much. Now that we are intelligent, we can fine-tune much faster, much better, and move to a higher horizon if we so desire. It must have taken time to come to this level, but now the progress of science is much faster. For example, in the last 10 years compared to last 100 years.
We were created some 10,000 years ago. Okay.
If God can inject life to a biologically inspired robot, then He will create human beings intelligent, fine-tuned, better than the current existence of humans. But it all depends whether God will desire to do that. Intelligent, fine-tuned robots which are biologically inspired, which means they would be able to sustain life and use their intelligence in a manner as God would desire. Then you would have somebody to compete. Currently, we are moving in that direction. Biologically inspired robotics is now taking its shape. But you would still need God to inject life. That's what you are trying to say, sir. Is that correct or not?
Life comes from God. Life comes from something living only.
And intelligence is associated with life, or
Certainly.
intelligence can be other than life?
No, intelligence is associated with life forms, consciousness forms.
We have intelligent computers now, intelligent robots and intelligent machines.
That we say, as Professor Sandeep was talking, I mean, we have formulated some rules and it follows that rules. It is not using its intelligence. It has been developed to follow that rule. So, we cannot say computers are intelligent. They are working, they can do repeated things in a very small time, but they are not intelligent, at least to my mind.
They are intelligent but not autonomous as we are. The autonomy of what you call the autonomous nature of soul, I think, is very, very important, which perhaps is the problem with the computer. Is that? Gentlemen, give a big hand to Professor P.K. Singh.